Um, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Control the Narrative, a podcast where we control the narrative that the media creates. If you're new around here, subscribe to make sure you catch our weekly podcast. And if you're a local around here, we appreciate your attention as always. Big episode 45. Carmelo Anthony has officially re-signed with the Portland Trail Blazers. So huge news, 1-year deal. He is back. They made a bunch of other moves that we're going to get into. But yeah, man, just really happy that he's back in Portland. It was the right move. They're a contender. He has a legit role on the team, which we'll talk about. And he just belongs in Portland at this point in his career. To help talk things through, I'm going to bring on my guy, Joshua. Joshua, how's it going, bro?
Doing good. How you doing?
No, doing good, man. Appreciate the time. First off,
Absolutely.
you've had a long day, so the fact that you hopping on here to talk some Melo with me means a lot.
Anytime.
Word. All right, cool, man. Well, let's get into you a little bit and your basketball fandom. Give us like a minute to 2 minutes on your basketball fandom, like history, how you started liking basketball, how you started liking Melo, and just like the story of you as a fan.
All right, I'll do this real quick. Huge Michael Jordan nut forever. Kind of like probably a lot of kids. I'm 41, so a little bit older. So I've seen both sides of the game. It's totally different now. But Melo, man. All right, so Melo, like, honestly could be my favorite player, even Mike. Like, I love Mike. I was spoiled with him winning. With Melo, obviously, I just love watching him play. Huge fan. Probably since, honestly, Syracuse, I think on maybe a Slam magazine, it had a picture of Melo as a rookie, as a freshman, and he was rocking, like, I think the 9 lows or something like that. I'm a huge shoe head. So I was like, oh, shit, he's wearing Jordans. This is awesome. Started watching him, man, can hoop. Just following him the whole way. And, I didn't have, like, I like Penny and Shaq and, of course, Kobe and stuff like that. But it was like, I was looking for the new star, And so, real quick, I was a LeBron fan in high school. I bought his jersey. But, like, that first game against the Kings, I think it was, and they said somebody's going to be the next Mike, I took it off. I was done. I was done. But Melo, like, with Melo, like, I watched him in Syracuse. They won it. I was like, dude, this is awesome. Go to the NBA. Obviously, I thought he was going to the Pistons. Was not a huge fan of the Pistons. But then when he went to Denver, I snowboard. I love Denver. So, like, I was just sold. And then, obviously, when he signed with Jordan, that was the wrap. So, since the Nugget days, man, I've been rocking with him for a long time.
2 questions. One, do you have a team, or are you a fan that like just follows one player? Because I have an opinion on this real quick that in the NBA, it's, I don't want to say easier, but it makes sense in a lot of ways that it doesn't make sense in other sports to follow like a player, because a player is only going to change so much. Teams change so much. There's 5 guys on the court at one time. So it's the fact that the team could be someone that you hate, like you don't like the players. Like this past Knicks team last year, there was only like 3 or 4 guys. Like I'm a Knicks fan. There's like 3 or 4 guys that are really like are just whatever. So are you a guy who follows a player or a team and a player? What's that like?
That was like, as a young, obviously, it was just Bulls always. I have so many stupid Bulls hats, even through the years of just trash, but I love their colors. I mean, just truthful. And then as soon as Melo went to the Nuggets, I was huge Nuggets, man. All of them. Like Birdman, I love that squad. Kenyon Martin's like probably my second or third favorite player. I love Kenyon. K. Martin. And I'm going to probably root for his son. I hope his son does well. But, like, Melo was like that whole team. And then I was so mad, but I don't have enough words to type about the hate towards Denver, because Denver's just completely, like, that whole team was relevant as soon as he left. But I get pissed off about that even thinking about it. But he had to leave. They weren't going to sign anybody on that squad, and he was playing in the finals against, or the Western Finals with Kobe. And they had a lot of tough teams they had to play against Kevin Garnett. It was tough times. It was the Spurs. I think the Clippers even one year was really good. So it was rough. And, after they weren't going to sign the guys, I think it was Kenyon Martin and Nate. I don't think they were going to re-sign J.R. Smith, the coach. That was everybody. So Melo's like, let me take me home.
Yeah.
And I will say that was a crazy change, but I have so much Knicks stuff now. Obviously, I was a Bulls fan, right? So how am I cheering for the Knicks? It took a minute to get used to the commentary, which I love them. But I became a Knicks fan. And then obviously it was crazy. J.R. Smith went there. Kenyon Martin came there.
New York Nuggets, baby.
Yeah. And so that was great times. Jeez. It was up and down. But,
Word.
I don't know. Those are good times. So
interesting that you said Kmart is one of your favorite players. My top three, you mentioned them, Melo, JR, and Kmart. You? Because it sounds like it's
might have to be, honestly, it has to be Mike, Melo,
right.
Kobe. But because of my age. But no, Kmart is right there. J.R. Smith, I remember like a lot of people don't even know like Melo with his hair. That was a bet. I think it was with J.R. Smith. They call him Young Swish. And it was a mess. But yeah, those guys are definitely at the top.
Good dudes, man.
I just love their attitude.
Yep. All right, let's get to the Portland days right now. Obviously, we know he re-signed with Portland. What was your initial reaction, and what is your reaction to him signing with Portland right now?
So I'm super excited he's going there because he's gotten a chance to compete. It'd have been cool for him to go to Knicks because obviously New York loves Melo.
Yep.
But I think going to Portland's a better situation. And let's not forget Lillard and Conlon has been harping on getting him over there for years. I mean, before OKC even, like they wanted him. So I think this team's great for him. And like, I really don't care. I just want to see the guy play and be happy. I really do. I mean, that's just the truth.
Yeah.
I don't need a ring. I'd have been disappointed if he tried to go with the Lakers or something like that. That's just not Melo. That ain't him.
Yeah, you knew that was not going to happen. Like people were talking, he should go to Lakers, and we talked about it last week. But it's a lose-lose. If they win, he's not a big part in it.
Exactly.
And if they lose, it's his fault. So
it
was a lose-lose. I personally, like heading into free agency, I really wanted him to re-sign with them, just because of all the reasons you just said. They want him, they embraced him. They're a good team. It's not like he's rotting away. Like I'm a Knicks fan. I did not want him to come here. Not yet. Like running back with Portland, see what happens maybe another year, and then spend the last year or two in New York and let's have a farewell tour. But I was hyped. I started clapping. And I was I was smiling, and I was excited to see it. Obviously, they added some pieces, which we'll get into in a minute. But just seeing him in that 00 jersey and just like being loyal to the team that, again, he's always been loyal his career, but being loyal to the team that took a chance on him and that gave him a shot to revive his career. It's like it was only right, in my opinion.
Yep. And I think they also looked at it as like this is Melo, guys, and I think Dame said it a few times. Like this is this dude. He does this. I don't know why you guys are acting like he doesn't do this. I just love that we had to wait 2-3 days, and then we knew he signed instead of a year. God,
yeah,
that was rough.
Wasn't that like I got a little PTSD? We're talking about that. The last few off seasons have been fucking rough as Melo fans.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
We never knew what would happen.
Nothing. My poor wife, I feel bad for her because she knows I was in a pissed off mood for a year. I searched every damn day on Twitter. Carmelo news. What the hell is going on, man? So mad.
Then there was all those Nets rumors and shit like that. But even this offseason, he didn't sign until like offseason started Friday at 6:00, right? And like,
right.
I was like expecting a tweet from Woj like within the first hour, and then it didn't come. I was like, no big deal. Went into the night, and then they're like, oh, he might come back to the Knicks, and I was like, all right, like as long as he has a team. Then the next day, nothing. And if you remember last free agency, when he was a free agent in the summer, started like July 1st or something, or maybe 4th. You didn't hear anything, like not a single rumor. I remember Ian Begley reported before free agency started that Melo might be going to the Lakers. And again, we're talking last year. And then like free agency started, and then we didn't hear fucking anything. And I was just like,
Done.
not even a rumor. So
No, it was awful. And then they're like, "Oh, he's retiring." Come on, man, that dude is done. Going to play in China. Get the fuck out of here.
I know. But some other moves that Portland made, they signed Derrick Jones Jr., traded for Robert Covington, traded for Enes Kanter, re-signed Rodney Hood. So made a lot of moves. This team is deep. This team is balanced. I still think the one thing they're missing is a veteran point guard behind Dame. I would have loved a guy like Jeff Teague. But what would you grade Portland's offseason, and what do you think about the team that they put together?
I don't know how you don't grade it an A. I mean, I know it's just on paper, but that squad was really good. And so obviously I'm a Trailblazers fan right now for a year now, so I knew that they were good the past few years. But I think was it Cantor was on that team when they actually went pretty far, and then Nurkic got hurt, right, or something like that. So I think they've got a really good squad. Like I was watching stuff on Giles. What do they call him? They used to call him H2O.
Oh, Harry Giles. Yep.
I thought that was dope, but now I guess he could be H10 or just Giles. But I don't understand like what I see in him and what I remember watching just games because you watch the league pass, you start watching all these guys' games. But the guy looks like a really good underrated passer. Looks like a team player, and what I was reading, everybody loves him. Like he's a fan favorite, and I'm like, okay, so why didn't they re-sign him? I know he was injury prone, so maybe that's it. We do have some bigs that are injury prone for sure. Rocco, I mean, that dude's got better and better through the years. He's really solid. Good. He is. He's solid. That's awesome. Hood, I think he's pretty good. I don't know a ton about him. I know when he was with Cavs, he hit an open shot.
Even in Portland, he was pretty good last year before he got hurt.
Yeah, before he got hurt. Yeah. And then Jones is a high flyer. That's going to be a highlight reel for sure. That's going to be fun to watch. He's got a three if he's open. I don't know his defense is like I think it's a good pickup. It's better than what is his name? Hernandez or whatever. 44. Yeah, Hazonia. I mean, it's better than that.
Christ.
Jeez. Zach Collins. I don't know about him either. They say he's good, but he's injury prone as everything. I mean, this dude.
10 games this year?
Jeez. So, and I was thinking about that squad. It's like you got Lillard, Simmons, which Simmons we already talked. That dude, I think he could be really good, but he could also just be one of those ignorant. What are you doing throwing these shots up, man? You pass, and dunk because he can fly. But and then CJ, Trent is a beast. I love Gary.
Bro, I was not a huge fan of him before the bubble, and he just holy shit, bro. That dude was a flame.
I think they're gonna have to play him more. So and then Little got hurt, but I think Little could be good. These are young guys, Simmons and Little, and what's the other dude? I think it says it, but those are young guys.
Trent.
Trent. They're all young and they're getting better. Trent definitely just jumped leaps and bounds. Yep. And Nurkic, I mean, healthy. I think he's going to give you all you want down low.
Yep.
So I was thinking about that squad, and I think I tweeted you once, like, is there a trade coming? But you know what? This year it's COVID. It is a weird year. So and they are injury prone. So maybe they keep all those guys, and everybody has less minutes and don't get wore out. And then they can go deeper. Because what happened? We were playing great, and then you get guys that are hurt, and then you can't bang down with the centers, and it just happened too much. So I don't know.
Wenyen Gabriel was a major part.
I think he got picked up. Did he got picked up today. I can't remember what team, but I saw something that said Gabriel. I think it was Gabriel. It said Wyndham. I think he picked signed. Yeah, because I thought that would be another guy that would be good to keep.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There could be a trade still going. I just don't know what Zach. I don't know where he. What he fits in.
So as the team is currently constructed, you would give them an A based on their offseason. You could do A minus, A plus.
You could say A. Yeah, I'd say A minus. I mean, you can't. I think you've done You signed Melo. I'm happy about that. I think that squad was tough already, but
Yep.
Rocco is a huge upgrade. And I really think that I think Giles is going to be good, and I really think even Jones, just to have some other bodies that can do something with the ball, because that's
Yep.
what I think happened. They were great, and then when it went back to the bench, which I almost thought put Melo in the bench, start the role because he could help that team lead it. And you're saying as a backup point guard, I mean, these guys are not selfish. Everybody knows Lillard, but then they know Melo's hot, give it to Melo. If CJ's hot, give it to CJ. They're not selfish like some people.
Simons.
And yeah, well, yeah, that's why he didn't play, I think. But I think CJ, I mean, I don't know. You could think CJ could be that backup point guard in a way.
Yeah,
like
I've seen people saying that.
I could see that. And I don't see that as being mad, but he's still young. I mean, he still could run with those guys. But I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a really good, solid team. I really do.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what they can do.
Me too. I'm gonna go a step up from an A- and go A.
Okay.
Just because, like, in my opinion, they filled all the holes that they had in that roster. They needed backup big men. They got that now. And depending on who starts, Zach might be coming off the bench. Cantor's coming off the bench. Cantor's not a great defender. Obviously going to be losing Whiteside, but he frustrated the shit out of me sometimes.
Me too, bro. I mean,
he was so frustrating.
Has there ever been a player that could get that many blocks, that many rebounds, and be pointless? And points. It just didn't matter.
Real quick, who was more frustrating to you to watch? Whiteside or J.R. Smith?
Oh, my gosh.
Because those are two of the most frustrating players that I've ever watched.
Truthfully, it has to be J.R. Smith, but I love J.R. Smith, so I'd say Whiteside, but J.R., I mean, jeez.
Yeah, I know. So like J.R. was frustrating.
That man.
One game he would go 7 for 10, and then the next game he would go 0 for 11. When Whiteside, like, he put up numbers, but, like, people talk about this like they were meaningless numbers, and, like, I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? But I saw it last year. Like, he just didn't have the energy consistently at all. It seems like when he went to the bench, he kind of, like, took that personally in the bubble and shit like that.
Yeah.
That was frustrating.
I think he could be a hell of a backup. I mean, not to say he can't start in the NBA,
right?
But if obviously if he went crazy money, I would have been not mad if we had kept him. I mean, clearly right now there's nothing said about it, but yeah, I think he didn't like that Nurkic just took the job. But you can see within 5 minutes, like he's better, bro. He's just
why. You see why.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those big men now, having those guys able to back up Nurk, and like you said, this is going to be a weird year. Maybe they like cut everybody's minutes and and shit like that. But I think another big thing was wing defenders and shit like that. Derrick Jones Jr., from what I hear, is a solid defender. Mm-hmm. Covington, he's a good defender. Say what you want, Melo's a good defender. We're not sitting here. I say this almost every week, but we're not sitting here saying he's an all-team defense guy. He's a guy who's capable, especially one-on-one. We know he can stay in front of guys and shit like that. So they got backup big men, they got wing defenders, and in my opinion, the one thing that would have really been a perfect offseason was if they got a backup point guard. I was looking at a guy like
I agree.
Teague and shit like that. And another like something I think of is when Melo was in OKC, their backup point guard was Felton, and like Felton wasn't a shell of what he was in New York, but I think he did he's a guy who comes in, he holds his own, he distributes the ball, and like a guy like Simons, I agree with you that he could be really good, but he's one of those guys
now.
Right, who seems like he's one of those guys who comes in and just scores the ball, which is fine if you need that, but this Blazers team, they need somebody who can facilitate this offense with so many weapons, like Melo, Dame, CJ, and like obviously Dame and Simons won't be playing together that often, but
right.
These guys that you can kick it to now, Covington and even Nurkic, they still do need somebody who can facilitate that. So we'll see. Maybe they do trade one of these guys, whether it's like a Zach Collins or and Simons, and package it, because they're deep in the front court now. So we'll see. But I'm going to give their offseason a strong A, because I think with what they had to work with, it was damn near perfect in my opinion.
No, I agree. What backup point guards are there available? Or, I mean, there's probably somebody that's not happy and we could get in the trade too.
Of course.
I don't know. You look at that squad though. A lot of those boys can hit a three, like serious. That's the most. Yeah, you got McCollum and obviously Dame. Rocco can hit it. Hood can kill it. Jones can hit. Melo, Zach, Nurkic. I mean, jeez.
Space on the floor, man.
Space on the floor.
Let's get to Melo. Let's focus more on Melo. So it just came out today. I always forget the GM's name. Jeff Olshey is the Blazers GM, and he had, I guess, media availability, and they were asking him about Melo, or maybe he started talking. I'm not really sure, but I saw the clip of him saying that Melo is likely to come off the bench. And again, this is only a couple hours old. What is your initial reaction to Carmelo Anthony likely coming off the bench?
I totally see him being in agreement with it and saying, "Okay, I'll do it." I don't think it's a problem with him. He just wants to play with some guys that want to play with him and trust him. And it doesn't matter about where you start; it's where you end. I still think he could still play as a starter. I don't think it's a prove. It's just to decide how that team rolls, because you could have like a lot of just fast guys. And I think it'd be nice if CJ took that role and was the backup point guard, but played still crazy heavy minutes, and then put Trent in as the two. I mean, just have a little bit more just a little bit more defense, and you still got the guys that can get hot and shoot, but then call them, and then you got, let's see, Hood. But I don't know. Hood's probably going to start, I guess. So Jones and Collins and Giles. I don't know, man. That could be still a really fun squad. But Melo could do that same role too. I mean,
of course,
he can set him up and get him going. So that could work too.
Are you mad at it? Because honestly, I'm like 50-50, and I'll play devil's advocate here in a minute. But like, I saw a lot of people on Twitter like really upset talking about this dude Melo just averaged, 15 and 6, and he gets relegated to the bench and shit like that. He should have went somewhere else. He shouldn't have to take a bench role. He's good enough to start. What do you say to people like that?
I don't think they know Melo. He doesn't need that. I mean, what is he? 18th season now?
Going in
18. I mean, look, I can't stand LeBron, but LeBron's a freak of nature. I mean, it's insane what he's doing. But if Melo is still relevant in the 18th season, hey, that's hella good.
Not only relevant, but if they utilize him properly and he's coming off the bench, there's no reason to think that this dude can't be the 6th man of the year, or like a top 3 at the very least. If they utilize him properly, let him get his touches at the elbow and shit.
I totally agree. And I think maybe that might be why they put him in that role. So let CJ and Dame do their thing. Because let's be real, they throw shots up too, man. And you're like, what the hell are you doing? There's a better shot right there. Melo's going to hit that shot on one-on-one at the post. I mean, it's done. But they throw these shots up, and I'm like, okay, but then he makes it. So it's kind of like J.R. Smith, right? You yell at him when he throws this shot, but he makes it, and then he shoots it 20 other times. You're like, stop.
Especially Dame. When he pulls up from half court, I'm like, what the fuck? Holy shit.
I know. It's like, okay, that's him, man. Do your thing. So that could be why Melo would be good and have his own time to get the points.
Yeah,
I know he can score.
Right. I'm so like split on this. My first reaction was fuck it. And like, I guess this is like my real reaction is the GM talked about how he talked to Melo about it. So obviously Melo's on board. This isn't something, and like we know from the past that Melo's always been open to accepting a different role or taking a bench role like he did in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Just be open with him about it is what he said plenty of times. And it seems like the Blazers are being open with him about it. So if they're being open with him about it, he signed on knowing that this is probably what's going to happen. Like, how can we sit here as fans and be like, nah, like, Melo's not mad, but I'm mad. Like,
Melo's good, but we got to be good.
Exactly.
I mean, after the season he had, you tell me there's no other teams that were wanting him in this, you know what I mean? And how much money did he take? The minimum? There's a lot of things that Melo's doing to help that team out.
Yep.
He wants to win.
To help that team out and also help his own narrative out because people, oh, he's only money hungry. He took a veteran's minimum. Oh, he needs to be a starter. It looks like he's going to be coming off the bench. So it's like these narratives just keep getting chopped, and it's just like, people don't have anything else. What else are they going to play? So that's the part about it. But Sixth Man of the Year, Melo, I think that has a nice ring to it, right?
I like that. I like that. I just want to note, you think about like the fucking Rockets. Like I hate that team. I'm so mad at them. Like me and my nephew. Well, he's graduating high school, so I took him down to Houston for Travis Scott. Oh, Travis, Scott, and we went to the Rockets. I think it was who was it? I think it was OKC. Yeah, OKC versus the Rockets. It was Melo's game, the one game that they benched him, or he didn't show up right after the Nets and all that. I was so mad. Seeing all these fucking banners with Melo's face all over it, and then the guys that they're not even letting them play. I was like really close. I was yelling it. Every time a shot was missed, I was like, blame Melo, right? Everybody was looking at me. I had my Melo stuff. I was so mad.
That was wild.
Oh, that was horrible. But no, I think this squad is for real. I think it could be a trade still, but I think Melo's he's gonna end it the way he wants to end it, and that's the best part.
Exactly. So none of us seem too upset about this coming off the bench. Obviously, we want him to fucking start and hear his name in the intros. But if he's not mad about it, we can't be mad about it. And fuck it, now we're on to Sixth Man Melo. So we'll see. We'll see how this chapter of his career ends up. Speaking of the team, now we talked a little about what they did, what Melo did. Where do you think this team right now stacks up in the Western Conference? A team like the Lakers, who just won the championship, seem to have gotten a lot better. They added some real good pieces. The Clippers maybe have taken a step back. The Nuggets are still solid, even though they lost Grant, but they should still be, a real contender. And, there's obviously a lot of really good teams in the West still. So where do you think, standing-wise, I think the season ends in May, this place
so weird. I'm like, when is the season even ending? So it's going to be a shorter season this year.
72 games, yep.
72. Do we even know if it's going to be in the bubble or are they going to go back to the stadiums?
They're going back to the stadiums, and
for right now to try it out.
Yeah, and then maybe in the playoffs they'll do a bubble because that's what baseball did, and it seemed to work out. Like obviously during the season, you're gonna have your ups and downs, but as long as you have everybody controlled in the playoffs, you don't keep them there for what were they in the bubble for like 3 months? The teams who won the final. So I think it's gonna be stadiums, and then maybe the playoffs will be in the bubble or something.
I think they'll probably be. I don't know. You gotta be realistic. I think it's gonna be a weird year. I really do. I think, as I just found out, some of the football players has tested positive, and they're gonna not be able to play. I don't know. We're gonna I think it's gonna mess up the season a little bit. I still think they're gonna be in the top. I mean, I don't see why they would be in the top 4, like probably 3 or 4. And I don't know. I think they got a really good chance. I don't know how many people really want to play against Dame. Who can guard Dame and stuff like that, We gave the Lakers a lot. And even the Lakers were being dirty like they always are. They get the calls, and then they hurt the man, and then what are you supposed to do? So if health is not a problem, then I see them in the top 3. But there's a lot of – Rockets are in turmoil. I don't know what's going to happen with that squad. Suns are going to be better. For sure. Jeez. So I don't know. I still think we're gonna be in the top. I just don't think just Dame's on another level right now. If Nurkic stays healthy, that's just gonna be more. I don't know how many centers would want to play with him. Lakers are probably gonna be top. I don't know.
Yeah. So we need a cement, and I'll give my prediction too. You're gonna say 3?
I'm gonna say 3.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit of an optimist. I don't know how because I'm a Knicks fan, but I think, like you said, if everyone's healthy, it's going to be a weird year. Guys are going to be out for testing positive, like that. There's just so many different factors, but these predictions are based on everybody being healthy on all teams and shit like that. I think there's no reason to think they can't be. See, I was gonna go 3, but I don't want to just say 3 and us both, because I feel like that's
I know
boring.
what you mean. I know what you mean, though. They're not going to be first. They could be second very easily, but they could also slip to fourth. And we're trying to do where we think they should be at. So
I think I'm gonna go 2, just because I still think the Lakers are the best. Like, they got better, and I fucking hate it.
I hate it.
The Clippers, I thought were gonna win it all last year. They lost Montrezl Harrell, who was a big loss. And I don't know. I just don't see them being that same team in terms of like a real like top 1 or 2 contender. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think they're right there. I think the Nuggets are right there. I think the Jazz are right there. Like the Suns are gonna. There's so many good teams in the West. The Mavs, if Porzingis stays healthy, are up there too. So I think there's a lot of good teams. But I think that based on their offseason and the players that they got, and just knowing that Dame can go for 60 on any given night, it's so hard to bet against them. But then I'm also like, in the back of my mind, I'm saying all this shit, and I just remember how I remember how I was feeling, and probably you were feeling going into the playoffs. Like, bro, this team has LeBron versus the Lakers, and then you come out, win game 1, you're like they might do this. Like, this might be a real thing. Game 2, they get blown out, fine. Game 3, the whole ref shit started. And it's in the back of my mind, and I'm just thinking about it. Going through the season, let's say they get a top 3 seed. Let's say somehow they make it, not somehow because it's not like crazy, but let's say they make it to the conference finals versus the Lakers. I just don't think they would beat the Lakers, not because they can't, but because like it just wouldn't fly. I literally believe that. I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, but at the same time, when you watch the games and you see all the calls, like, oh well, the fouls were even. The fouls were even. Well, yeah, the fouls were even, but the Lakers got 11 fouls called for them in the first quarter, and then they went up 23. So it doesn't fucking matter after that. Like, you suck the soul out of them. So like it's a wrap. So I just think of shit like that, and I'm just like,
no, I agree. The only thing that I think about is if it was like in Portland and in LA, and you actually had that home crowd advantage, dude. I went to one game. I hope I can go to another one, because that was one thing. Like, I remember like Rasheed Wallace and those guys being there in Portland. I was like, dude, it just seems like a really cool town, and the crowd really gets into it. And that was like the coolest thing. That crowd really would help. Obviously, I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I'd like to line it up and see what happens, but yeah,
of course,
it's so frustrating.
The crowds, because we watched a lot of the games at home. Obviously, we were not in Portland, but the crowd seemed crazy. The crowd seemed crazy. They were rowdy. They love Melo, of course. Whenever Melo got introduced, I would always watch the intros, and he would always get a big ovation. So I love that too. Yeah, so that's a good point. That's a good point. The crowd would definitely have played a factor. Who knows? Hopefully, if some fucking magic shit happens, and we can get some fans in the arena, more than like 30.
30.
That would be that'd be pretty cool. All right, Joshua, we've reached the end of this podcast. 33 minutes and counting. And at the end of every podcast, we allow our guests to control a narrative, whether it's Melo, basketball, sports, home theaters, whatever you want. What's one narrative out there that you think needs to be controlled?
The one thing I'm going to just say, and I'm not normally going to be saying like this, but really with COVID, like the mask, like I know there's people that are frustrated about it and don't think it's real. Shit's real. Like my wife's a critical care nurse, and she's actually been asked to be the COVID head nurse since this shit started. And I don't see my wife. My kids don't see my wife. It's insane in this small little town how many people are dying that are no symptoms. That no one's saying anything about them. They're acting like, it's just old people. It's not just old people. There's obviously, if you want to look at the numbers, sure, it's still not a big number, but it's still out there. And at least try to social distance if you don't want to wear a fucking mask. I don't care to wear the mask, but I've been doing it. And then I think about just thinking about other people. Like, hey, they might have a grandfather that might have this, and if I'm around and I give it to them, they could die. So just try to think, because this is a lot of hate right now going on in this world. It's crazy. So that's what I'm gonna say, bro.
Respect. Taking time out on Control the Narrative to hopefully save people's lives. That's very admirable.
Yeah.
Respect for that. Word, man. Let's wrap it up there. Do you want to tag your Twitter? Where should people follow you? Instagram? Where should people hit you up?
It's a Powers CHT. We're in Nashville, Tennessee. We do all kinds of installs for TVs, theater rooms, lighting, speakers, TVs, whatever. Even if you guys just have questions, message me. Try to help you out no matter where you are.
Yep, respect. And I don't know if people have seen it. Sometimes you posted a couple of pictures of your home theater. I think it is, with all the Melo speakers and fire. So
thanks, man.
If you're home,
dude, Melo liked it. I was pretty pumped up about that. That's cool.
Dope. Yeah. If you're home right now and you're like, damn, I really need a home theater. It sounds like we're going into another lockdown. Hit up my guy, and you'll take care of them, right?
Absolutely.
Well, yo, I appreciate your time again on this, what sounds like a really long day to you. And I look forward to interacting during the season. And hopefully it ends with a ring on that boy Melo's finger.
Let's do it.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Take it easy, bro.